Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over some more data mining for New World. Now this is from a Reddit post and I will have that linked in the description. I'd recommend going and checking it out for yourself if you want to see all the stuff in this Reddit post. So this Reddit post pretty much outlines the 3 weapons that this person thinks are going to be released first into New World, and it's Void Gauntlet at 1, Daggers at 2, and Blunderbuss at 3. So first off, for the Void Gauntlets, I've gone over these multiple times because these are seeming to be the furthest along weapon in the files of the game. They were data mined in the list of essentially player equipable items. All of the 6 abilities and all of the passives that would be in the skill trees for the Void Gauntlet have been data mined. I went over those in one of my leak videos. Then there was also a video done by a German news gaming channel that had some footage of New World in a different test build, and when they went into their weapon mastery UI, there was actually UI elements for daggers and void gauntlets in the weapon mastery page. So in some test build of New World that was shown off less than a month ago, those were already in the game with their UI elements in the weapon mastery pages. And then in this post, they also show what are said to be some of the models for the Void Gauntlets, and I've never seen these. I'm not sure if these were data mined or shown before, but they do look pretty cool. They're a little bit different than I thought. These definitely have more of like a witchy type dark vibe. I was thinking because of how the Ice Gauntlet looked, that the Void Gauntlet may be a much more like sleek version of what it would be, but these are definitely more of like a gritty witch type feel, but they still do look pretty cool. So that's pretty much it for the Void Gauntlet. Like I said, I've gone over a bunch of stuff on that weapon, and I do think that is probably going to be the first new weapon released into New World because it seems to be almost fully completed in the files of the game. And next up, we have a weapon I've never talked about, but I have heard some people mention before, and that is the Blunderbuss, which would be another ranged weapon. So it would be alongside the bow and muskets. And it's not as far along as Void Gauntlets. I don't think any of the other weapons are as far along as Void Gauntlets, but the Blunderbuss does actually have its ability names laid out in the files. So you have the Claw Shot, the Net Shot, the Vortex Shot, Splitting Grenade, Azov Shrapnel Blast, and Mortar Shot. So we do have at least the ability names, so it's past the stage of just being like a weapon named in the files. And there is a comment of this Reddit post, and I'm not sure if this was someone else finding actual code that states this, or if this is kind of them theorizing where these abilities would be, but they have Claw Shot, Net Shot, and Vortex Shot in the CC tree, which does make sense for those ability names. And then in the damage skill tree, you'd have Splitting Grenade, Azov Shrapnel Blast, and Mortar Shot, which does make sense. That is kind of how a lot of these skill trees in the game are built off of. They're usually built like one side's more CC based, one side's more DPS based, and they do usually design their skill trees like that. And then finally, we have Daggers. Now this person does think that Daggers would be the second weapon to be added into the game, and I think with some additional information that is out there, it does seem like Daggers would be the second weapon to be added in, because like I said, we've had multiple things data mined for the Daggers that they're in the game. There's been data mined information that shows it specifically mentions dual wielding and daggers as plural, so these would most likely be 2 daggers, which makes much more sense than holding 1 dagger. That does seem a little bit weird. And these daggers do have localization files that mention their skill trees being blades and stealth, which is pretty interesting, and I have heard that actually mentioned before, and that does make a lot of sense. One tree would most likely be like just a fast all-out combat type of playstyle with the daggers. You're probably hitting faster. Maybe you have some enrage that makes you hit much faster or something like that. Most likely has some sort of dagger AoE with it, if I'd have to guess. And then stealth would most likely be a bursty, more fast moving class where you're trying to be more tricky, where you're trying to burst someone, then get out of combat and reset, and possibility of the first stealth being added to the game, because right now in the game the best you can get of being stealthy is laying down in some bushes so your name disappears so you can sneak up on people, but having some sort of stealth in the game could add some pretty cool gameplay. Personally, I'm hoping the stealth is timed and something that can be countered, so I would be thinking along the lines of like Halo stealth, but that is just a smaller timer, so maybe it would have some like glimmer or something like that to where you could actually see the stealth if you're good at looking for it and if you focus on looking for it. And then like I already mentioned, there's the video where in one of the test versions of New World, there are already daggers and Void Gauntlet in the weapon mastery UI elements, and they have their UI elements in that page already. So that also puts a little bit more credence to daggers being the first or second weapons gonna be added into New World. And then we also have some additional information where the dagger abilities are data mined, but they're currently not named. It's just attack 1 through 6 under dagger abilities. So there's a possibility that these aren't as far along as even the Blunderbuss. I'm not sure on that because we do have that UI element at some point. So maybe they either got rebuilt or their names just aren't in it yet. Any of these weapons could foreseeably be the next weapon. There is also some models in the files of some really basic looking daggers. And I'm not sure if these specific daggers have been used by any NPCs or enemies in the game. The only things I can actually remember dual wielding like dagger type weapons are one of the ancient enemies, if I'm not mistaken, kind of lunges at you and has some poisons. I think they're a higher level enemy, but that just kind of shows there is some additional information for the daggers. And then for all three of these weapons, they do already have files mentioning their point caps for their skill trees. Under the Void Gauntlet, the Blunderbuss, and the dagger, all of them have coding in that mention a 20 point cap, which would be the cap of points to where you could level up these weapons level 20 and have that many points in their skill trees. And it's mentioned that stuff like the one-handed and two-handed clubs don't actually have these in the files yet, which are weapons that have gone over, that have been in the list of data mine weapons before. So these three seem to be the shoe-in to be the first three added weapons, no matter which one of the three is released first. So that's pretty much all I wanted to go over for the new data mining for these three weapons. And I do think with all the information that we've seen data mined from that video that shows the UI elements, that these three weapons are probably going to be the ones that are released first into New World whenever they happen to be added into the game. So subscribe if you want to see more New World or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about these data mine weapons. And thanks for watching.